Hello YouTube, this is Birdo Prey 5 again. Today we're going to talk about revenge.
Ah, Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in space.
As the Klingon proverb goes, revenge is a dish best served cold. My story begins in the summer of 2003. I was about 25 years old. One of my friends, good friends, had asked me to sell an item for him on eBay. Now, he had worked at a local sports arena, and he would occasionally get access to sports memorabilia. So he would sometimes give me some of them to sell on eBay. This wasn't for much money, $20 here, $25 there. But I was particularly busy at work in those days. And while I didn't mind listing it on eBay, I didn't have a lot of free time to actually go to the post office to ship it to someone. Now also remember, in those days, eBay didn't charge fees for your shipping cost. You could sell something for $1, charge $100 in shipping, and you would only get the fee on the $1. Of course, eBay would probably suspend your account after doing that, and I wouldn't have blamed them. But the point was, charging higher shipping and handling fees wasn't unheard of. So I did this auction, as I had done a few times before. And as I had done several times before, I made it more than clear that the shipping cost for this item was more than you might expect. So please don't purchase the item if you don't agree to the shipping and handling costs. And it was at the very top in big, bold letters. I wasn't trying to hide it from anyone. It was being as transparent as possible. And it wasn't $100. I think it was maybe $10 or $15, where the actual cost of shipping was like $7 when all was said and done. So it was like double the cost of shipping. It wasn't a crazy amount, but it was certainly more than the stamp and the box would have cost together. So the item sells for maybe $25, and the buyer pays quickly, no questions, no concerns. I shipped the item out the next day, and I thought everything went well. Then I get feedback, negative feedback. My first negative feedback after hundreds of eBay transactions. The buyer says shipping cost was too high. Shipping cost too high, I thought. There must be some mistake. Now, for those who don't remember or don't know how eBay feedback used to work in those days, a negative mark used to stay with you forever. Years later, they let negatives expire after a year. In fact, I think all feedback expires after a year. But back in the early 2000s, once you had one negative, you could never get back your 100% rating. And I was going to be damned to take this feedback laying down. At first I was nice. I tried to reason with the buyer. I explained that I was very clear that the cost of shipping was going to be high, and he accepted that, and if he didn't want to accept that, he shouldn't have bought the item. He would have none of it. He refused to change the feedback. I filed a protest with eBay. They did nothing. After weeks of trying to fix it, I just had to accept the situation. This guy had won. Or had he? My friends will tell you, I am not one to be crossed. I am blessed with a combination of intelligence and patience, and those two combined equal revenge. Not a day had gone by after accepting that the feedback would not be changed, that I put the buyer on my eBay watch list. I would get updates for every item he put up for sale. And as it turned out, this guy did not sell very often, maybe once or twice a year. Worse, what he did sell were big ticket items. I'm talking $10,000 plus watches and fancy sports cars. Well out of my price range. But nevertheless, I kept watching, kept waiting, because I knew one day my day would come. It was 5 years later. For the first time in 5 years, the person who had given me my one negative feedback in all the years I was on eBay put something inexpensive up for sale. Not only did he put up one thing, he put up a lot of 20 of the same item, the same inexpensive item. And sure enough, he was charging an excessive shipping and handling fee. It wasn't enough that I purchased one, and it wasn't enough that some of my family purchased ones. But I was also a member of a very popular web forum at the time, and had a number of, shall we say, e-friends, more than happy to help one of their own out in his plot for revenge. So, for the small cost of what the item actually cost to buy, me and about 10 others purchased this inexpensive item. And after purchasing, we left feedback, negative feedback. Shipping cost too high. And for me, I would have been happy with the story to end there. But it got better. As you might have expected, he got quite angry at this. But all the feedback was true. The shipping cost he charged was more than it cost to actually ship. Nevertheless, he began threatening to sue some of the people for libel and for slander. In addition, since I had changed my username years earlier in preparation, he had no idea that it was me who caused all this. He could have checked his feedback going back years and years, but he didn't. Instead, he went back only a few weeks and blamed another seller he screwed over for taking revenge on him. That was a seller of another fancy sports car. So for weeks, he went nuts, demanding people take it down, threatening to sue to get people to take it down. But truth is absolute defense of libel, and nothing that was posted was untrue. So eventually, he accepted his fate, and I had my revenge. 5 years after he screwed me over, he got it back 10 times worse. And that is my revenge story, at least the only one I will tell. Kapla.